The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
Hi, this is Brad Marcus, and welcome to another episode of Toiletside Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Troy, New York, and began his in-ring career in 2008. He's worked for such promotions as The Dynasty, Truly Independent Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Academy Connecticut, New York Championship Wrestling, Immortal Championship Wrestling, and I won't go on. He's held the New York Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, as well as the TIW Championship. Shared the ring with likes of Ryan Duke, Jimmy Limits, The Madness of Trip, Schindler's List star Liam Neeson, Fox Vineyard, Brute Van Slyke, Kirby Wackerman, and I won't go on. So let's welcome today's guest, someone who does believe that Mrs. Claus is in a loveless marriage with Santa Claus. I give you HVO, High Voltage Omar. HBO, how are you?
Damn, I look fat in that video. I'm doing good.
Can I tell you something that you just said that it brings up something? One of the first conversations I had when I got to work today, someone said to me, Brad, you look like you're getting fat. It was like the first thing I heard this morning. It ruined my day.
Yeah, that could really, that's a mood setter for the day.
Yeah, seriously. And then I felt self-conscious the rest of the day. Anyways, hey, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
To the start of the week.
Right.
Oh, I have a question because I was online today, as I'm sure everyone on the planet was at some point.
Yeah.
So you're an artist, correct?
Yes.
And I saw something. What was the thing that you posted today? Was it from Labyrinth?
Yes, from the Labyrinth. Yes, it was the one of the Fire Gang guys.
Okay, let me ask you a question because I'm always impressed by people who have a talent for things, because I have no talents. When did you realize? I mean, because it was amazing. When did you realize that you were a good artist in your lifetime?
It was a little bit. It was a little bit after tracing and getting bullied by one of my uncles for tracing. That I decided, know what, no more. Yeah, I decided, you know what, no more tracing. I'm gonna try to do this on my own. And little by little, I actually figured out, I was actually pretty good at it, especially with like eyeing certain things. It's like never perfect, but yeah, I hardly use a ruler. Sometimes I'll draw with a pen.
So do you have do you ever like come up with like ideas and like have to have a sketch pad near you?
Oh, yeah. Really? There's been a few times where I've been driving or a passenger, and maybe I shouldn't be on my phone while driving, but the way a cloud or something looks in the sky, take a picture from it, and later on try to see if I exactly remember what I was seeing in it.
Oh,
and
wow.
Try to draw it out. Sometimes from I have this one tattoo on my leg. I like Tim Burton, so I tried drawing one of my own little type of characters and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Did the tattoo come out like looking like you had in your head?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
definitely. The cartoon came out pretty. I was in 9th grade. I was already mastering the whole shading and like the light stuff, and
Oh, so did you take like anything beyond like your standard art class in high school, or did you go to like
no, too many talents to try to like focus on one?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Well, that's amazing. What's your choice? Like markers, pencils, oils, paints.
Pencils and spray paint. So spray paint is not graffiti. I am not a good graffiti artist. I am like the worst from even saying good. I can do kind of what I would do on pencil and paper, and like this one where it's like planets type stuff.
Okay,
that type of.
Have you sold anything of yours?
I actually have. I've sold a few pieces. Not many. I didn't get started into selling them all, but then I ended up finding myself with a little bit like too many, and then I had a couple friends who were like, "Yeah, I'll buy that one from you," or "I want that one. I'll give you this much." And I was like, "Oh, you want it here?" Because now it's becoming storage.
Let me ask you something, and you may not want to answer this. Do you so the couple people you've sold work to, have you charged them the same amount, or is it depend? Is it based on how much?
It depends the size of the canvas. If I have a decent size, like 11 by 14, I usually charge about maybe $30, $35, depending on how much I'm putting on the painting. Pretty cheap. I've sold, I don't remember what the size was of the bigger one. I've sold that one for, I think it was about $60. Different sizes, different prices.
Now, any of these people, do you know, that may have taken a life insurance policy out on you?
I hope
so.
Not.
The value would skyrocket
of
your work if you, God forbid, passed. You don't suspect this?
No, I do not. That's not something I was thinking about.
Good.
Jeez.
So you consider pro wrestling art?
Yes.
Is that safe to say? Now, what about like sports like football, baseball, basketball? Do you consider that art as well?
I'm not really a sports ball guy. I grew up playing a little bit of basketball with some friends, a little bit of baseball, but I never cared to sit down and watch a game. Maybe like a Super Bowl with some friends or whatnot if I actually get invited, which they will tell you I may show up, but then in a blink of an eye, I disappear. No one knows anything of me.
It's called the David Copperfield, that move.
Yeah.
My brother used to do that.
A lot of guys have found that out. It's like, where's Omar? Next thing you know, I'm in the bathroom coming out, and next thing you know, it's like he's just gone.
He's gone. Is it just you could care less who even won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, and that's always been.
The only thing I've been trained to say that the Cowboys suck. I've been trained to say that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you did it. You did it really well just now. It's very believable. So you grew up in New York?
Yes, in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. And did you were your parents from there?
No, from Puerto Rico.
How did they end up in Brooklyn? Did they know each other in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, they knew each other in Puerto Rico. They split, and my mom, we moved to Brooklyn.
Where were you born?
Myself and I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay. And were you there long enough to have memories?
Barely. I think I was about maybe 4 or so, because I remember I did a preschool out in Queens.
Okay.
Vaguely, I remember 2 or 3 things from Puerto Rico. From
and were and so did your parents separated? Did your dad stayed in Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
What did he do down there? While like you had siblings?
I had one brother that stood behind with him. My mother couldn't take us all. So myself and my sister went down with my mom, up, I guess. So,
sure.
Yeah. And then my brother stood behind, being raised by my father and my grandparents.
Did you go down to visit? No. Oh, so this was
I went once, like I think I was 11, 12 years old. The
Mhm.
first time I remember actually going back after, the whole big move to the United
Sure.
States.
Uh-huh. And is it you guys just don't really have a relationship?
Oh, no, not at
No, not
all.
at all. Okay. Let's move on. Are you close with your mother?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Did she and it was was it a no-brainer for you, or were you too young like that? I'm staying with
Yeah, no,
my
I
mom.
understood. So my mom didn't do the whole bashing. It was pretty
Mhm.
much me seeing no Christmas cards, no calling, no birthday stuff, no nothing. Once he showed up unexpectedly when I had chicken pox, and I was just like, okay, well, what's the
Yeah.
point of this? And
Uh-huh.
didn't meet him again until I was 17, and then that wasn't good. And yeah.
So is it just like you've washed your hands of that and
Yeah,
focusing on
I try to make my peace once I became a father, and I had to deal with
Mhm.
more crap and stuff. I tried, but it's just all one-sided.
Yeah, and you know what? At a certain point, you got to give up. And like you said, you have your own kids and energy to put into that. Um,
Yeah.
did your mom speak English when she came here
Oh
with you
yeah,
guys?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So my
okay.
mom, my mom, I think grew up in Long Island, if I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
mistaken, before moving to the city, and then back to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And what did she do for a living? Having you, to feed you
Oh, I was about to say living. No, she
and
she 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 did the that loving mother shit. 2
yeah.
jobs or how many jobs she needed. Made sure food was taken care of before she went to work while we were at school. So when we came home before her, food would be there. The
Oh,
whole working late, homework on her desk so she can check it in the morning. We go get it.
was she
She
constantly?
just worked and supported us, and made sure we had the best upbringing that we could.
And was she like constantly exhausted? Like for making time to be a
Uh, oh,
mom and to work two
oh
jobs and
yeah, definitely, yeah. She was, but she did a good job of hiding it.
she did. Oh wow. And she was like was she like uh your relationship, or was she like warm,
Oh
affectionate
yeah, yeah.
or
Yeah. So
disciplinarian?
she had the whole discipline thing on hand. She's Puerto
Uh-huh.
Rican. It's
Sure, sure.
completa. Get shit done. Not like
Uh-huh.
nowadays where you gotta point your finger and yell at kids because you can't hit them.
Yeah, yeah, you can't
Yeah,
take a swing
yeah,
at
yeah.
this point.
Can't even.
So
Yeah.
what was like the neighborhood that you grew up in like?
Oh man, I grew up in Bushwick, which was pretty much a hood. Pretty much semi in the ghetto. It wasn't that bad where we lived. There was two buildings of Mexicans. There was another
Mhm,
building full of black people, and that was pretty much the drug spot. And then you had
mhm.
pretty much Spanish and white people mix everywhere else around. And it wasn't that bad though. I didn't quite fit in. I was like the kid that listened to rap, but also rock on my little Walkman because
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want nobody else to know at that time.
Did did like people keep to their own groups?
No. Oh no.
No, everyone
No,
mixed
everybody
and
hung out with everybody.
oh, that's
It was pretty
awesome.
much one of those things like the kid lived on the block. If the mom's head was turned that way, somebody else was watching.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew whose kid belonged to who, what the hell they were doing. We'd get snitched
Yeah.
on. Oh, they hopped the fence over there to the schoolyard and playing handball. They're not supposed to be there. Next thing you know, your mom's standing on the other side of the fence looking at you like, is it nice to break into places?
Yeah, totally. Let's talk about that. Did she did like was there like crime going on? It was just like children
Uh,
hijinks.
Not too much. Every now and then, a cop or
Mhm.
two, but pretty much everybody. We had some of the adults that would break the fire hydrants and pull out,
Yeah,
a hollow can and start spraying everybody down. We
totally.
all got
Okay.
along.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. Did what was your personality like, when you were young?
Uh,
It,
it was strange, man. I always found it hard to fit in because to fit in, you have to just put too much effort into
sure.
it, trying to either dress like somebody else, talking like somebody else. Everybody had Jordans or the new Nikes. I would fight with my mom if she would try to get me Nikes. I was like, Converse or something like that is fine. And she goes, no, you need something else. I flipped out on her once when she bought me $80 skate shoes. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I never cared about, that whole fit in. But it was weird because I fit in with everybody. I could hang out with the nerdy kids. I could hang out with the semi-ghetto kids. I could hang out with, some of the Spanish kids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And did you have like a group of like close friends?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I mostly kept to myself because, everybody always talks shit about somebody.
Uh-huh.
But in high school was the point where I actually had just like 3 friends, every now and then we'd skip school, go skateboarding or go to the movie theaters or go just hang out somewhere. So, and it was just the 3. So, well, it would be a group of 4 of us, but
yeah, but
no, those were like the main guys.
I was always like told that like the more friends you have, the more different you have to be for that many people. When you have just a couple friends, it's just they're getting just you. You don't have to fit in, different places.
It's rough. You got to play chameleon all day.
Were you aware of that at that age? That like you just didn't want to be, have to try that hard.
Yeah, it was around. Let me see. I want to say 7th grade.
Okay.
I was just watching everybody change, and I was just, I just felt like outside. Like you saw certain people trying to act a certain way because like music or how their friends were. I started seeing more of the friends with the baggy pants that were sagging, freaking aviator coats that was like 4 times their size. And I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, I mean, it's good. They could grow into it for the next couple years, but
totally.
I'm not trying to wear that shit.
Yeah, or if you turn into like a polar bear, it'll fit perfectly.
Yeah. Plus, I would even get made fun of because in gym class, my mother cared about me. So when I take off my jeans, I'd have long johns. Meanwhile, they're wearing pants with holes and freezing their asses off.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not trying to fit in and look cool like you guys. I need to be warm.
Was your mom aware of this? Like, did you verbalize?
Yes and no. I got in a couple fights in school because of stupid shit like that. Me just defending myself, or the most times I got in trouble was because I would fight bullies or whatnot.
Oh,
I just hated the fact of somebody, just being scared while they were at school. And then I got to the point once where someone was getting bullied at the table where I was sitting. I was new. This was in 9th grade.
Okay.
And some kids were getting bullied off like their snacks or whatever. They had like a separate window where they sold cookies and shit. And some kids bought it, and some kids came over, and we had metal trays with like the metal spoons that were like heavy that you could knock somebody out. So I just remember this kid started crying, and I was like, I finished my spaghettis because I didn't want to spoil it. And then I hit the one kid they grabbed the spoon, hit the other one. It was a group of 3 of them, and then like the security guards were all on us and shit. And
did anyone cheer?
No, but the next couple of days, everybody kept staring at me all weird in the lunchroom. And then next thing you know, some people started talking to me. And then I had some kids saying something about watch my back. And I remember telling him, I got up in his face. This one was wrong on me. He said it, I got up and I headbutted him right in the face. And, I actually got in trouble and shit. But I don't know. After like 9th grade, I hated it. It started, I want to say about like 7th grade, we had a group of kids that would run in the hallways and just knock down whoever the hell was in it. They didn't care. So it started with me, instead of moving away, starting to stand in the middle and push one of them back.
Yeah. Wow. I wish I had that courage when I was your age.
You're growing up without a father. You got frustration. You try to behave all the time. Sometimes you just can't.
Did that make you angry that you didn't have a dad around?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like,
we had 2 trips
angry?
in school where it was supposed to be like a father-son thing, and I had to stay behind and just pretty much be in the art room all day. Oh, it's shitty to see, people doing that.
Did they make you like talk to like counselors or anything?
Oh, they tried. I didn't start talking about it till I was like 18.
Okay, so did you fill the void of, not having your dad present with like art?
It was music.
Music. Okay.
It was music. It was not transcendent. Starting from like I said, where I lived, everybody pretty much listened to rap, and my mom listened to Spanish music. So it's not like I just listened to one type of music. I started off with crap like Coldplay and Nickelback, and worked my way up to Green Days and Slipknots, and then more metal music. And I did the whole, not school band, but a band with, classmates and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like kind of like a metal-ish punk thing, and it was stupid, but it was a good way to get the energy out,
Oh, I bet. Did what instrument did you play, or did you sing?
I did a little bit of singing, and I was learning how to play the guitar.
Oh, nice.
As I went on, they would just show me, and then I learned a few things, and then afterwards I started picking up a few things, started mimicking, bands.
Was this in high school?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play in front of people?
No, we played in the living room.
Was it fun though?
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't that bad.
Like being able to create stuff. So when does pro wrestling make its first appearance in your life?
Puerto Rico, I went 2000, late 2008. I want to say. Yeah.
That was the first time you had seen wrestling before?
Yeah. So once when I was young, when what was it? When I was 11, when my mom brought us to Puerto Rico, right by where we were staying, there was a little coliseum, and they were having a wrestling show, and it was free. A couple of the kids were like, "Oh, let's go," and my mom was like, "Go socialize, do something."
Yeah.
It was one of those vacations where I just stood in and watched TV.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Go," and I went, and it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I was not pretty much front row, but in Puerto Rico, it's like the basketball court. You had like the first 3 rows, and then right afterwards, you had the little banisters going all around. I was like right there. Wow. I got to see a lot of it, and I had said something, and then one of the guys is like, "Oh, you want to become a wrestler?" And I was like, just a little kid, and I was like, "Yeah, I do. I liked it."
Wait, what year is this again?
2008.
Okay, go on.
And yeah, I told the guy, he gave me a card. He goes, when you're old enough, and I got into wrestling when I was young because of my uncles. We would watch wrestling. They would switch from Raw to Monday Nitro, the Monday Night Wars, and my uncles called WCW world's crappiest wrestling because half the time Nash never hit nobody with the big boot. There was like this much space.
Yeah, totally.
It was a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and like Steiner was ridiculous, so we would switch back and forth, and that's what it was for me. It wasn't sports.
So was this wrestling. Every Monday night? Like you would meet your uncles?
Oh, yeah. 2 of my uncles would come by and tear up my mom's food, sit in the living room, and start yelling at the TV.
Does she watch then at that point too?
She would watch a little bit. She wasn't like all crazy about it. She didn't get into it till I actually started training in Puerto Rico.
So was
then
this
she kind of
was these uncles were your mom's brothers?
Yeah, my mom's brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, so either 2 or 3 of them that were around out of the 4 would show up, and we would watch it. We went to the WWE restaurant once before it closed down and whatnot. Yeah,
how was that place?
It actually wasn't bad. You had the store up top. It was actually one of the first time I saw one of those little holograms. They had a little hologram in the middle of the store, and they had like 3 or 4 figures set up to look like they were fighting, and you could just throw your hand in between, and it was pretty cool. Then downstairs they had the restaurant area. You had the big TVs with the bars. You had a couple tables. Then they had a stage and like a signing area where when they would come down, you would, get your signatures, get your pictures. Sometimes they would sit off like on a stage and start arguing, or something would happen.
Oh, wow. Did you go to, did they ever take you, or you on your own, see shows at Madison Square Garden?
No. My first show, I want to say was 2019.
Okay.
My birthday was coming up, and I was talking to someone, and I made a Facebook post about how they were coming to Albany, and I was like, man, that would be a good birthday present, as in I was going to buy myself tickets. I go to a show out in Ludlow, Massachusetts, and a fan gives me an envelope with 2 tickets to the show and said, "Happy birthday."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, excuse me? I was like, what the hell's this? And she goes, oh, well, I saw your post. And then we ended up becoming good friends. But it was just random that a fan came to me and gave me that. It was like the time a fan found out I like chocolate chip cookies and brought me a whole tray. And I was like, oh, okay then.
You should let it known that like you like cash. And maybe people
I've tried telling people. I was like, for $1 a day? Yeah, I'll send them personal messages.
It's gonna sound weird. I just love suitcases filled with cash. Sorry, it's my thing. So in high school, as you got to your junior and senior year, what's your plan? Did you start formulating a plan for after high school?
No. So during high school, I was still doing a little bit of gymnastics since I didn't want to take the normal basketball, football, baseball gym.
Sure.
I got into the weightlifting with a friend of mine because I was falling behind on my social studies class because I was always getting there late. So I had to take an extracurricular program, to get my points up. And then from working out with him, I was just going to the gym and working out. I could do that and get, points.
Yeah.
We started wrestling. He was part of the wrestling team, and we would mess around. And
on the mats.
He started teaching me a little bit of that, and then that
you ever give
kind of, huh? No, and I'm glad I'm glad I never got that cauliflower ear crack.
Yeah.
I remember once my ear bent and like rubbed, and for like a whole week straight, I was scared my ear was gonna like puff up. And
God. Okay, so does your mom have expectations for you after high school?
I didn't finish high school out here, man. My sister finished, and she was like, all right, pack your shit. We're going to Puerto Rico. And I was like, but I don't get to finish school out here. And she said, no, we're out, whatever.
And were you fine with that?
Hell no, man. That's when I started acting up. I started cutting class more. I was like, I don't care. She's moving this. I don't get to finish school out here. I was like, I don't care.
Totally.
That's when I got a little bit like rebellious.
Like show up to school at the hour that you would like to show up at,
7 o'clock, that's fine. I'll be there at 9.
Yeah, so I'll be there around 9. I have to get some coffee. So, okay. Does anyone know that you're a wrestling fan when you were in high school?
No.
Really?
No, the kids I hung out with all either played instruments or were skateboarding.
So they never knew that you were like a wrestling fan?
No,
really?
We never talked about it. They would talk about music. Maybe we'd go play handball, but no one ever talked about.
Not bring it up?
I wore an RVD shirt almost every time.
Okay.
No one ever asked about it. No one ever said a thing.
Your friends just probably thought like you liked pot, you were like an advocate.
I don't know.
Whatever. That's another episode, or you can ask me the question. Okay. So when you were so you go back to Puerto Rico. And are you thinking about, maybe I will, go to, start training or find a trainer or follow up on?
No. So we had some sort of a boardwalk. I don't know what the name for it would translate in English.
Okay.
Dumb when it comes to bilingual words. But and there was a bar, and I've seen in this bar they had a little back area that was always cleared off, and then one day they had wrestling back there, and there was this one guy. I don't want to get in trouble with saying this, but he was gay, and some of the guys were making fun of him and saying something about how I wanted to wrestle, and they were like telling me, you should train him, but they were being rude about it. And I looked at them, and I looked at the guy, and I was just like, I'm not having this conversation. They were being dicks. I didn't need him to be offended and then have that whole shit going. So I ignored it. I just kept going. A month later, I started working for the city, and it's just like a garbage cleanup. They have us with the weed eaters or the trimmers go out to certain roads, clear out things, or work in the recycling center. They threw me in the recycling center, and then that kid ended up working there, the one that was at the show.
Oh, really?
So I said hi. I saw him. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, this is awkward now. And then they put me with him working with the papers. We're separating papers and plastic. And then somebody mentioned something about, oh, I was working with the wrestler. And I was like, huh? And I looked at him because he didn't really look like a wrestler.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then they kept saying it. And I asked him, I was like, what, you wrestle? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't wrestle. I was like, no, there's no way. You don't even look like you're built for it. You know, he was a pretty stocky guy, but he didn't look like he could do this shit. And he was like, all right, tomorrow, bring a bag with some shorts and stuff. You know, he goes, I'll bring you. And I was like, huh? I didn't bring shit. But he still insisted. And I was like, you know what? I was like, all right, let's go. We went 2 towns over and we went to the Invader number 3's house. And they started training. And the Invader number 3 asked me, he goes, you want to do this? And I was just looking at it. I was like, it seems interesting. Doesn't look hard. Once I said it doesn't look hard, he chopped the shit out of me.
God.
I couldn't breathe for a bit. Once I got up, he goes, you want another? And I was like, no, I do not. But that was a Wednesday because they did Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That Friday I brought stuff because I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. And I went back and then, you know, I started training on the regular at least 2 to 3 times a week up there. And that was quite a story because sometimes I didn't have like my dues. And so he would make me cut his lawn, trim his the hedges, paint his barn or the house, or have me do like housework or something. And it was ridiculous, but I was willing to do it because after like 2-3 months, it was just an addiction. I wanted to go and practice. I wanted to go and do it.
Was the money was it reasonable? I mean, that you're paying? No, it's.
Oh, wait, what I was paying?
Yeah.
What I was paying is reasonable compared to out here, what I've seen certain places charge.
Yeah.
But you also got to think of where you're going, who you're training with, you know, and whatnot. I was training in the middle of the mountains.
Before you went, before you went to back to Puerto Rico, were you aware of indie wrestling?
No, not at all. Have never heard of a show. I missed out the opportunity to go to the ECW show because one of my uncles slipped and said something about ECW to my mom, and she goes, "No, not ECW," because, you know, blood and whatnot. Yeah. So I missed out that shot to go to the Hammerstein Ballroom for that. But
oh my God.
Till I started wrestling in Puerto Rico, that's when I learned. I was like, oh, there's this shit everywhere. Because in Puerto Rico, it's just wrestling and baseball. That is it. Right now, you got basketball coming up, but it was pretty much wrestling and baseball. That is pretty much it. And fishing.
Are the fans different at
animals
that you've seen?
Animals. Really? Those fans are animals. I've had beer cans, bottles thrown at me. Food items. I was a bad guy in Puerto Rico. They were trying to figure out where to fit me once I started wrestling. I was pretty much a filler. You know, they needed somebody for something. Somebody didn't come in, you know, get geared up, get in there, go get your ass beat for, you know, a few minutes, get some, ring time.
Was it cool getting into the ring for the first time from a fan, like as the fan?
It was nerve-wracking at first because when I started working with anybody, I was helping out with music and with ring setup and like the dressing room setup. I would go in the ring and they would have me run the ropes after they would tighten them to make sure they were okay and whatnot before some of the guys would get in there. And it was just at an instant. I was playing music and then the guy comes over to me. He goes, yeah, get to the back. I'm going to need you to get in there and, you know, do this, this, and this. And, you know, we'll call it a night.
What were you like, you know, in those early days? What was your, like, what did you hang your hat on? Like you had like a good physical, body.
Well,
or you had...
back then I was young and faster. I was barely maybe 180 pounds. I was able to wrestle as somewhat of a cruiserweight and be able to, you know, to do flips and shit, which I probably don't even want to attempt nowadays.
Yeah. Is that strange being on the top rope?
Oh, it was. It scared the shit out of me as much as I wanted to do it. I was scared. My friend was like, oh, we're going to call this the Ric Flair bump where you're just on top. I'm just going to carry you down. He carried me the first time. Second time, barely held. Third time, as soon as I went, he just crouched down and I ended up falling. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, what the
wow.
hell? But then after that, I was like, oh, shit, hold on. Went back up. And then we would do it from
Oh,
like
that's
first
good.
rope, second rope, then the third rope.
Okay.
So
And
you'd practice your way up. It's not like they're just like, hey, get to the third rope
yeah,
and
get the top
take a
rope.
flip bump. Yeah,
Uh,
that would suck.
were you nervous at all in the very early days, like when you were in the ring?
I was, because I wasn't good at making certain judgments on my own. Like some of the guys would be waiting for me to respond to certain things, and
Uh-huh.
I was just waiting to be told, what to do. At
Yeah, yeah.
practice. At practice, they could put me with somebody, and I'd go back and forth with them. But at the show, it was different. I was new, so I was always expecting to hear something. Hey, now you got to do this. Now, it was just I was
Yeah,
expecting
yeah.
to just be guided way too much, and it was not, that. So
What
I
was
had to
it?
learn the hard way.
What was the most difficult part about like
Oh,
training?
the Spanish, man. It's like I grew up in
Oh.
the States,
Mm-hmm.
Spanish was pretty much my second language and not my first anymore.
Did they look
So
down on you?
oh hell yeah. I was a ref
Really?
for like 2-3 months, and I
Uh-huh.
would say something, and then the fans or the wrestler would correct me and make fun of me. And then that's where it started, me speaking English till I'm yelling back, and that turned into when I started wrestling my character. Since I spoke English, everybody already knew
Yeah.
my Spanish was bad, so I didn't speak Spanish no more. I became the American guy, and
Yeah, you used it.
yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I can't believe that people treated you poorly because
Oh
you're
yeah,
from the.
it was
Did you know
it
that
was
was going to
embarrassing.
happen?
No, no, it
Oh,
was
wow.
embarrassing. I told somebody that he was choking him, right, and then I should have used a different word because he was choking him with his foot. And there's multiple words for this, and I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
standing in the middle of the ring. I was like, "Listen, I don't speak your Spanish that good, so." And then I would go back into a little bit more Spanish, and people would make fun of me as soon as I would come out. They'll be like, "Ah, el gringo," and I'm like going up. I'm like, "Oh, there we go. I'm the white guy now, apparently."
By the time you left Puerto Rico, two questions. Had your mom come to your and seen you wrestle at that point?
Oh yeah, yeah. Once she saw that I got into it,
Okay.
she never fought with me about it. This is the one thing I love about her. It's like anything I try to do, support, right off the rip. Hey, yeah, you
Okay.
want to do it, go ahead. You don't break your head. And then she would go to shows. Next thing you know, she would go. I ended up finding out that one of the guys that was wrestling was a cousin of mine. So
Oh,
then, we
wow.
started hanging out, and she would come to certain shows with us, or two of her friends would sometimes come pick her up and bring her to the shows, and we would just, she would stay there from the beginning to the last match, whether mine was the second or third or first. She would
Would
stay
she
the
get
whole night
into
and
it?
then leave. She would get into it. Sometimes I would hear her yelling, and then I've had that moment where I turn around, it's like, "Ma, shut up!" Like,
Oh,
it's like,
really? Did you ever
oh
like
yeah,
make eye contact with her, at any
yeah.
point?
Then I put my head down. It was a tag match. I looked to the side, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, "Oh shit, don't look
Did
at me."
did as part of this training, do they work on character and cutting promos? Is that part of it?
Oh yeah.
And
Definitely.
is
We've had it. It was good for me, but like I said, with the Spanish,
uh-huh.
it was bad. Sometimes it wouldn't make sense. I'd stop to think, and like the Invader 3 would just look at me and be like, "English." He goes, "If
Yeah,
that's how
yeah.
you're gonna do it," he goes, "I understand." He goes, "Just speak."
Oh,
So I ended up getting more practice in English. I did 2 or 3 things in Spanish, but then everybody was all like, "Nah, man, you need to just go back to English. Stick with
stick
the
with
English.
English.
That's your thing."
Did do you think would you be a pro wrestler today if your mom had decided to move back to Puerto Rico?
Hell no.
You
I don't know
wouldn't
what
be.
the hell I'd be doing. I'd hope I would have still, stuck with art, because
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say I was doing pretty good.
Hmm. So what made you I mean, how long from when you started you had your in-ring debut to leaving Puerto Rico again?
So what was it, 9, 10, 11, 12? So from 2009 when I started wrestling till mid 2012,
Hmm.
Puerto Rico is a different monster. Every company is pretty much running Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, or Friday, Saturday, Sundays, or
Wow.
Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. It was insane. When I started, I was doing Friday, Saturdays. So that was every Friday, Saturday. I was at a show every Friday, Saturday. Then it became Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then after my first couple of months, one of the companies that was on TV had picked me up. They were like, all right, we're just going to put a mask on you right now, work on 2 or 3 things, and, we'll put you on like the TV stuff.
Okay, so you were telling me about the circumstances of you coming back to the States.
Yeah, coming back wasn't so easy, man. It took me like 2 years to try to find any company that was willing to give me a shot. I
Really?
barely had that much footage. I had a few links, a few posters, and maybe like 2 or 3 like little 20-second clips, and some people would just leave me on red, or how I say, speechless, and never got back to me until I met up with Fox Vinier, who's from the area, who
Yep.
And I went to like 2 or 3 shows with him, and I went to Connecticut to PWA when they were still running, and El Leon Apolo was there, a wrestler from Puerto Rico, and he saw me, and he goes, "Oh, are you working the show?" And I was like, "No." And then the promoter was standing pretty much right there, and he looks at me, he goes, "You wrestle?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You got your stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Get dressed, you're on the show." And then right from there, things started. And I want to say that was 2015, late 2015.
Okay. So there was 2 years where you didn't wrestle?
Yeah.
Oh my, did you think like, all right, well, I had my wrestling career's over?
At one point, and then an uncle of mine was like, "Yo, I was watching Raw, and I was roommates with a buddy of mine in Cohoes, New York." And he goes, "There's a training place right near you." And he gave me the address and whatnot. I called them. I started going. I was training with them. I wasn't getting on the shows, but at least I was going to the shows, meeting people, shaking hands, helping out with whatever the hell they needed, obviously.
Sure.
And then, from there, I met a few people, and then started up with I was trying to find someone out here who made gear, because the person who I knew was in Puerto Rico. And at this time, I still wasn't that great with Facebook. I had just gotten it, and I was trying to, get in contact with certain people. But
do you design any of your own gear?
Oh, all of it. Everything I have, I've drawn out.
Is that so much fun?
Yes, because I would love. All right. So I have one pair that I did not design at all. Is the one that I would use when I was wrestling in TOS and a few other companies with a guy named Ty Shine. We pretty much look like twins,
Okay.
So we were doing the whole Bello Twins gimmick, and we had the guy that works for Hioshe. He made, a whole bunch of designs, and he sent us, the design for the tights, and we got them done. But that was cool, because I was scared of what was coming out. I didn't know. I got you. Don't worry, it's gonna look good. And I'm just like, nail biting. Oh my God, is it gonna be good? Am I gonna like it? And then I get the message, and I was like, okay, cool. It doesn't look bad. It looks like something I'd wear. But it was interesting. But I like designing it myself, because I get to put what I want, where I want, how I want. And I get that frustration of looking at it and being like, no, this isn't that good. Let me change this up. Like the ones that I'm wearing now for the whole kind of Skeletor gimmick didn't have the blue bricks or anything like that. It was just the outlines were blue. And I was like, nah, I don't like this. And then I saw a pair of boxers that had like the bricks and a cartoon character on it. And I was like, you know what? I could do the bricks going around. And then I did the lightning bolt, which I've always been using for no damn reason, since the name is High Voltage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to throw the Skeletor face in there too, and design the chest piece.
That's amazing that you can do that. So how much gear do you own that you've designed? You said you only have one pair that wasn't.
Want to say it's a total of 12 or 13. I went through them. I went through them the other day. I think it was like 13 or so.
Is it addictive?
All made in Puerto Rico. Yeah, man. It's like it's like what I call evolution. It's like you always got to change up something with your look or your music or your shirts. You can't wear the same shirt forever. You can't. have the same look, even though I've seen guys who've been wrestling for a couple years and still rock the same gear they started with when they started. And it's like, bro, it's time to change, especially with after COVID. I was like, all right. So after my knee surgery, I was like, all right, so if I come back, I don't want to just come out with the same gear. I was like, I wanted something different. I want, and it took me like 2-3 months just to work on that alone. Usually the other ones have taken me 2-3 days.
And for all this stuff, is there, you've had the same person in Puerto Rico do it? Like you trust one person to take your vision on paper?
One of my buddies, he used to wrestle. He was very popular in Puerto Rico. Then life hit him, and then family and more responsibilities. Sure. So he took time off. But then he was taking sewing classes, and he was going to school for this. Okay. And I needed a birthday present for one of my uncles, who's also been always supportive of me of whatever. Like when he found out I was wrestling, he sent me money so I could buy some nice wrestling shoes, so I could have something decent, some knee pads and stuff.
That's awesome.
He came to Puerto Rico and brought me to a store when they were looking, and he goes, all right, so you needed that. You said, right, grab it. He goes, grab this, grab that. And I'm looking at him like, what? Okay, I got some fresh shit. So I needed a present for him, and he loves the Invader. He thought it was crazy, how I got trained by him. And so I had my friend make the mask, and then I took a video of when I took it over to his house so he could sign it for my uncle. And I gave it to my uncle, as a gift. And I asked him in Puerto Rico, I was like, yo, I kind of want to wear a singlet. Do you think you can make me a singlet? He goes, no, I could only make tights. I was like, if you can make tights and you can make a mask, you can make a singlet. Yeah. He didn't want to make a singlet. For a year, I bugged him. I was wearing a pair of Nike leggings that I stole from my mother.
Oh, geez.
For a good year and a half.
Did she know this?
After a while, she
figured it out.
Oh yeah, I didn't get yelled at or hit. She goes, "Oh, that's kind of funny," because I was wondering where you got yours from.
Yeah, they look really good. I just couldn't. Would you when you find out that you have a package coming up from Puerto Rico with your gear? Is that a very exciting day?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like I can't wait to open it up, look at it, and just immediately. I've had once I was coming home from work, and I saw a box by the door, and I saw from my buddy. I ran up the stairs, took a quick shower, and got into it just to see, what it looked like, what it felt like.
Oh my God!
It's Christmas, man. It's Christmas.
Yeah, totally. It's been good,
especially with the new gear. Had the chest piece. I was wondering how the hell is he going to send this. I get a normal little box. I'm like, what the hell is this? I open it. It's in pieces because it has little snaps all over it.
Oh, okay.
But there's no instructions. He didn't write it out to me. He didn't send me a video of how to put it on together.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure it out. My girlfriend just takes it from me. She goes, let me see. Next, she just figures it out, snaps it together.
Yeah, totally.
I need to remember this.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Did so had you had the idea of High Voltage Omar? Was that already in place in Puerto Rico? So what's the evolution? How do you become High Voltage Omar?
So in Puerto Rico, there was this rapper called Julio Voltio, and they would make a joke with saying John Voltage, and then I was like, what? And then my friend said that near one of the promoters, and he looked at him and looked at me. He goes, I like that. I'm calling you High Voltage next week when you get. I'm just looking at him, and I was like, I don't like that. And he didn't care. He goes, no, that's it. You're the American High Voltage Omar. I mean, John Voltage. And I was like, what? I obviously didn't like it. I was like, whatever. This is on TV. I'm just gonna eat it up. And then I ended up kind of liking it. And when Fox and I were talking about names, he goes, why don't you do something with your middle name, Omar? He goes, that sounds cool. That sounds different. And then he goes, he made the joke with the High Voltage Omar. He goes, keep the voltage. And it started, he was Fox. So he just started getting crazy. And I was like, maybe. And at the PWA show, we had Fox, Nathaniel Carr, and a few fans actually start chanting HVO. And I was like, oh, it sounds stupid, but I like it.
No,
So it's like, oh, everybody's like, oh, what's
good.
high voltage about you? And I'm just like, bro, maybe the explosive energy, because my character was pretty much someone who's been, belittled, showing people, I'm just gonna get what I want when I want it. I'm sick of trying to play by the rules and wait in line for what's mine. And that's where it evolved. And I had kind of wanted to change it at one point, and I just kept thinking I was just no good. And I was like, you know what, the abbreviation works. Till a couple of companies, WWE'd me and started calling me Omar, and I was like, no, it's HVO, not Omar.
Yeah, HVO sounds cool.
Yeah.
How do you consider yourself a veteran at this point?
Oh, no. Been doing this for what? I think about 15 years, and I feel like a rookie. I could learn something new every day. I've done stuff with people that I have never practiced, but things that I wouldn't even imagine, just because it's like, man, everybody's learning all these new different holds and how to get out of them. And it's like a doctor, you're always learning about a new medicine, a new procedure. It's like, I could have been doing this for 15 years, but you could probably have a guy that's been doing this for 2 years outschool me in a few things because I'm not practicing that.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's
so
a good analogy with the doctor.
Yeah. I've had guys come up to me, hey, can you watch my match and, give me a few pointers? And I'm just like, you asking me? It's weird when it happens. It's like, I guess I'm humbled by it. It feels good. Like, okay, so people like my stuff. But at the same time, it's just me, bro. I'm wearing tights just like you.
Yeah.
Trying to figure this out and piece it all together and see what happens.
So after you got this is what I want to ask you. Is when you were training in Puerto Rico as opposed to training here, was that style completely different? Like how they teach you?
In Puerto Rico, obviously, you learn to work the left side, which is the right side. But we learn to work the right side as well. We learned a little bit of lucha libre at the same time, mixing up the styles, because you never know what's going to happen in the ring, and then the guy's in the opposite side, and then you guys can't react to it for a second because you're not used to, being on the opposite side. So they would teach us how to, work around it. Okay, you're supposed to give a guy an arm drag, but he's standing the wrong way. You're still good with it because you're comfortable from working it. And then, once you get him down on the floor, you let go of the one arm, grab the one that you're supposed to. They would teach us ways around it. And when I got out here, people didn't like it. I would work with a guy, and I told him at that time I was doing this spot where it was a hip toss, arm drag, and then once they would come around, I would do the arm drag with the other hand. And everybody was like, no, that's not how you're supposed to do it. That's not the right way. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's lucha.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be able to work everything, and because motherfuckers are doing spins and flips, and you end up at the wrong side, and then you were all looking at each other stupid.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta learn to save it.
So at this point you have been wrestling for a while. You don't consider yourself a veteran maybe, but how do you pick I want to go work for this promotion? How do you select the right promotion for yourself to go to work for?
I'm a whore. They could all message me. I'll work for them all. So no. Before it was like that. It's like you're dipping your toes in the water. You're trying to test out this company, that company, who are they booking, how are they treating you. But at the same time, it's like you're new. You got to work. You got to show them, you want that bigger spot or just the spot, because sometimes you go in a place and they're like, yeah, we'll give you a tryout. You might not get a call, and it's like, shit, did I not impress them? But then you don't want to show off too much, especially if you're in the lower matches or whatnot.
Sure.
But now it's different. Now it's more of a relationship. It's like I do this basically for the fans. I get enjoyment out of doing it. It reminds me of family times, with my uncles. They love it. I have 2 right now that make it out whenever they can. I was wrestling in Connecticut. My uncle from the city drove up to watch the show and came out to eat with me and my girlfriend, or my girlfriend and I. And that's what it reminds me of. And then it's like, you got promotions right now that are just fighting. Oh, you can't work for this guy because I don't like them. You can't work for them, which I made a post about. And which I made a post about. And it's like, listen, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for you. I want your promotion to be, the best it could be, whether you're using me or not. But there's certain companies where there's like bad blood between 2 or 3 people, and it's like you just want to avoid it because you don't want something happening, that shouldn't happen. It's like
get
I say,
dragged
it's
into
like
something.
this is just like a separate life. You got this one, and then you got this one, and you can't worry about the one that's not keeping you alive.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people get sucked into the drama and they just become their character, and it's like 24/7. That's who they are, and it's like then they get butthurt when you say something about it. It's like, bro, it's like relax. It's almost, and I feel bad saying it because I don't say it's fake, but it's like a play. You show up, you do your part, you go home. You go home, you're not Macbeth or one of the cats from the theater cat.
Totally.
You're not that thing. You go home, you're yourself.
Yeah, you gotta go brush your teeth, get ready for bed. Just
exactly,
like anybody else.
Just to go back to work and do the damn 9 to 5 or whatever it is for 5 days straight or whatever the hell your schedule is.
Do you have a 9 to 5 job?
Yeah, unfortunately, wrestling.
Do they know you're a pro? I know. I want to read. Do they know you're a pro wrestler?
Yeah.
How long in did you tell them?
I didn't tell them anything. I was I want to say I was working 3 months in, and someone's like, it's kind of funny. I saw this video the other day on Facebook, and it kind of looked like you. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Then they pull up the video and they look at me. It is you. And then they started talking about it. I would get made fun of. I had
they make fun of you? Oh, because they're ignorant to wrestling.
Yeah. Some of the people they were like cool. It was like one of those, oh, it's not my thing, but whatever, that's yours.
Yeah.
Some people would give me like random stupid nicknames for wrestling, or they'll be like, yo, John Cena, Batista, I'm like, come on, bro, like shut up. Like those are the worst questions.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I know who Hulk Hogan is. Do you do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I had one guy rant on about old wrestling, and I'm looking at him, and I was like, I got to go.
Yeah, totally. Go talk to the wall or something.
Yeah.
When does baby HVO enter the picture?
Mid 2019. Let me see. March, April, May. I want to say it was around June, July of 2019. Organically. So NYCW, I was their first champ, March 13 of 2019. Big bad guy, bully, beating up his friends and whoever the hell he had to do it, or who he had to fight, or how he had to do it to keep, the belt. I'd put up even pictures of me walking the belt on a stroller, babying it. It got ridiculous, and then
that's awesome.
Towards a feud that I was having with Tripp, it kind of just changed. Like you just flicked a switch, and next thing you know, I was like the most loved guy, even though people were telling me I can't read, and which I still don't know where the hell that comes from.
They know how to read.
Yeah, like they know. And but yeah, now I lost track.
So this baby comes along. Does that throw everything up? Like
no.
When I was working and.
What do you mean working?
Like a baby comes into the picture. Does that affect oh, I can't work, a show this weekend or?
No, so it actually wasn't that bad. I had 2 or 3 that kept me constant as a heel, and then with Ty Shine as the Bellow Twins, I was pretty much the bad twin.
Oh,
he was the good twin.
I think we have a misunderstanding. I'm talking about like your child.
Oh,
as the baby, not a baby face.
All right.
I was like, oh, I thought, did he think I just asked him the same question twice in a row? No, I'm talking about having a child. Did that?
It was, yeah. I took first 4 months off. Didn't do anything.
Did you have a choice?
It was my choice because I didn't have a father, so
yeah,
I needed to make sure I was not gonna be doing the same thing.
For
and
sure.
Just not being there. So I did that, and then as it progressed, I would just do 1 show a month, and then it turned into 2 shows, and then 2019 started, and I pretty much blew up a little bit, and next thing you know, it was almost every weekend.
And your girlfriend's fine with you working, starting to pick up like working more?
No, man. At the time, no. Well, no. At the time, it was just bad. Me and my kid's mother split, and I just filled it with more wrestling. I had the week for the kids, and then the weekends I would just wrestle and just get away. Right now things are different.
You have more than one child?
Yes, I have two.
So are you like consciously trying to be present as much as possible in their life?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like you're doing what your mom did.
Yeah. Exactly. They come with me to shows with my girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they come. They like it. My daughter seems to be the one who I would say would end up being the wrestler, but right now my son has seemed to be showing way more interest. Like he'll pay attention. He really likes my matches and stuff. But I was like, yeah, I'm your dad. Of course you're gonna like my match. My daughter ended up becoming a fan of a wrestler from Massachusetts, Big Juicy. Okay. Not sure if you heard of Juicy. Yeah, she became a fan. I watched her once. Girl was stuck. She wanted a picture with her. She wanted a hug from her. Oh, yeah. And it was cool for me because it's like, you worry you're pushing it on your kids because it's like, oh, this is what I do. And then it's like, you don't want them being those kids that, I got to go here because dad's going.
Yeah.
But they seem, like I said, to be very like entertained. They watch it. I've noticed my son, he was sitting down in a chair at a NYCW, how they have the second level. Next thing you know, he's up on the gate just watching the whole thing.
Oh, really? And does that make you so happy, like them being into something that you're really into, your passion?
Yeah, it's good because I'll ask like, hey, because my son said something to me the other day because I've taken a couple weeks off, and then he was asking me, oh, when are we, when you going to a wrestling show? And I was like, why, you want to go? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, then let me message a few people and be like, I'm available for these weekends or something.
Wow. Does he think it's really cool that and your daughter think that it's really cool?
Yeah, he gets scared, when I'm getting hurt, but he goes, he goes, but I know you're okay because you get up at the end and you always win. I was like, I don't always win.
But you come home, like you make it home alive. Oh, that's so awesome. Your girlfriend, how'd you meet her? Was anything related to wrestling?
Nah, just internet.
No, like right. Was she impressed? How quickly did you bring her out to see you wrestle?
She never seems impressed. She goes and she watches, and like people watches, like she watches how people react to me wrestling. She likes it. The last time I saw her actually on her phone recording me, and I was like, oh, look at her recording me this time around, rather than just sitting there looking like, there's Omar doing Omar stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool to get that support.
I want to ask you one last wrestling related question. What would you say so far in your career? What's the best part of being a pro wrestler?
When I was holding 4 belts. Nah. The fans, it's like that. No, it is not. It's one of those idealistic things where it's like it's a trophy, it means something, it's a prop, but at the same time it's not like a goal. Like when I get told, hey, we're gonna give you the belt, and I'm just like, me? But no, it's the fans. It's having that interaction with them, having a couple kids run up and wanting a picture, and I'm just like, oh shit, you want a picture with me? Yeah. It's like I try to envision, like that would have been, me if I was going to wrestling shows. I probably would have wanted pictures with all like the biggest, baddest looking guys.
Yeah.
That's what I was into when I was little. Loved Kane, loved, Austin, Billy Gunn. It was the big guys. I was like, okay, you guys look like you can throw somebody around and, kick their ass.
That's amazing.
So it's cool when I have like some of the kids or somebody come up to me and want a picture, and then they start talking to me about a match I had or something that I did, because half the time I go to the back. I was like, all right, I did the thing, whatever. Some people always, good match, great match. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I didn't impress myself tonight or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then somebody will bring up something I did in the match, and I was like, oh shit, so you actually like that? And then, we had a conversation, have those like weird conversations, and it's like, oh shit, now someone's gonna go home with a story of mine that they might share with someone.
Do you ever get recognized outside of like, the wrestling?
Yes, I went with my son once to a Monster Jam, and then I had like 3 or 4 people. It was from far. I was glad they saw me with my son, so they left me alone. But it's one of those, HVO. Once I was going into a Walmart, and someone said HVO, and then my son's like, "Is that one of your fans?" And I was like, "Yeah." Keep walking.
Run. Yeah, so, yeah, totally.
Run.
I've eye contact.
Yeah, I've had it.
Cool. Is that a good feeling though? Like,
it's pretty cool. It's at a point where it's like you feel like, oh shit, like someone actually recognizes me, because I feel like everybody kind of wants to leave their mark on something, depending on what they're doing. If they're not just one of those people waking up, breathing, sleeping, doing the same shit over again. It's like someone wants to make a mark. So it's like when I go to one of my friends' store, the Heroes Hideout, and then I'm just talking to someone, and then someone notices me and then talks to me or something. I was like, oh shit, like, it just feels like, okay, so I have made somewhat of an impact in someone's life because they remembered who I am. And it's not like one guy who was like, oh, HVO. And I was like, hey. And it was like, you suck. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, oh,
like, you're obviously on that guy's mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
as he's leaving, he'll be thinking about you the rest of the day.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let you go in a minute. Can I ask you 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions?
Yes. Was that one of them, right?
No, but that's hilarious. You're the first one who's ever said that to me. Okay, so. Do you ever pose nude in art classes to make ends meet?
No, but just no. Right? You said yes or no, so no.
You can expand if you want. Are you jealous of the characters in the movies Avengers because of their special talents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
For $4.7 million, would you dog nap a dog from someone in your neighborhood? $4.7 million.
Nah, there's an annoying poodle around the block. That shit could stay at his house.
Okay. Fair enough. The honesty. Have you ever swallowed something that was alive?
Yes.
What? Can you tell?
A worm with a tequila shot.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Did he make the full journey?
He had better, because I don't remember him coming back up.
Okay. Okay, and then last question. You're doing fantastic. Do you sleep with some sort of weapon by your side at night?
No, though I used to sleep with Ice Bear.
What's Ice Bear?
You gotta Google
Okay.
No. There was this TV show called We Bear Bears, and it's like 3 bears. You got a polar bear, regular.
Yeah.
And so I ended up saying something about how I liked the show, and then someone got me the Ice Bear, and I remember when I moved into my new apartment, I threw it on the bed, and then like 2 days later, when I came back to actually sleep in the bed, it stood there with me for like a week.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, and I looked, and I woke up one day, and I looked at it, I was like, why the hell am I sleeping with a bear in the bed?
Yeah, totally. Named Ice Bear.
Yeah.
Should put a cape on it. Thank you so much for coming. This was awesome. Where are you wrestling after, in the new year?
Let me pull this out my phone real quick and give you all the dates.
For sure.
So right now we got Sunday the 2nd, Fighting Spirit for NYCW in Whitesboro, New York, at the Accelerate Sports Center or Complex. Nice. The 22nd of January is Survival Championship Wrestling at the Viaport Mall in Rotterdam and Schenectady, New York.
Cool.
Then after that, what is it? We got February. We got Under Pressure for NYCW on the February 5th. I will be at Battlefront, or as I call it, Booty Front, on the 13th of February. And on the, March 13th, right now, as I have it, is set to be with Big Time Wrestling in Albany, New York at the Armory, or the Washington Avenue Armory.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's all I got set up to right now.
And do you expect to have other things pop up in between those? Like, are you counting on other things?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. But those are just like the ones that are booked.
Yeah, those are the ones that are set in stone right now. I'm still waiting to hear back from a few other places.
Well, that's good that you have, through March already kind of like mapped out. Yeah, that's great.
Which isn't that bad.
All right. You go be with your children or your girlfriend. I'm going to go hide from my children and my wife. So maybe we'll be doing the opposite things. But thank you again. Very grateful that you would come on and give me all this time. So I wish you nothing but success, and hopefully we can speak again sometime in 2022.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I hope you have a wonderful night.
You do the same. Merry Christmas.
Yourself. Be sure to hide in a good place. The bathroom's not one. You'll get the fingers.
No. It's going to be in my car, probably in the garage with the lights out until everyone falls asleep. But that's, again, another episode. All right. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again.
All right. No problem. You have a good one.
Bye.
All right. Bye.